focus on about where is the money, get back the money for me. I need the money back home here. Do you think we need to therefore begin to build a second pillar to this particular anti-graft campaign?
Yes, that is very, very important because now, because President Buhari has that strong personality, maybe to induce some of these countries to get into such agreement. But then we don't know whether they are willing to release those funds. I don't know how much of those funds they have released. UAE may agree to do that because of some personal relationship or maybe because of the respect they have on the person of our president. But beyond that, it is important for us to look at the internal dimensions of this. What is it that propels people to steal government fund? And again, we have to look at it. Why do people feel comfortable taking the money to UAE and not keeping it in Nigeria? Why can't other people steal money from their own countries and bring it to Nigeria? So I think those are questions that we need to ask.
Interesting when we take that on one side. But again, the whole anti-graft, anti-corruption campaign is all about the economy.
Yes.
Isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, because that's what are you going to use the money for? You just put it in a bank and just seal it up there. No, you need to deploy these funds. Isn't it?
It is.
Yes. So this is an economic issue.
It's an economic issue. So what I'm talking about is let's get the market to work, okay, and create incentive for individuals to utilize even when they steal the money, okay. They find ways to plug in the money into the economic system, into the market, into creating opportunities here. Because even though we have weak institutions, business schools, so one of the things we talk about in business schools is how to create to create opportunities even in weak institutions. And then we have so many individuals who come from foreigners, foreign developers who come in here. The Chinese, they're all over the place. They are finding opportunities even amidst the weak institutions that we have. So how do we develop the market? I think that is what the emphasis should be.
Let's move on to our own domain, the Lake Chad, Northeast, troubled, on one of the troubled regions in Nigeria. Of course, the Niger Delta is a lot quiet now, but that region is becoming very, very difficult to manage. We have hydrocarbon, we have agriculture, very rich in that region, but we have about half a dozen countries bordering the same area with us, and they are taking advantage. So we have insecurity issues on lives and property. Then we have serious socioeconomic issues there because we can't utilize that particular region fully because of the extremists and others who are populating that area. Do you think this deal with Cameroon, the CAR, Libya, Niger, Chad is a step in the right direction?
Well, I think it's a step. Whether it's a good one or a significant one, I don't know, because we have to look at the root causes of the challenges in the Lake Chad region. Okay, between 1963 and 2013, the Lake Chad has shrunk by more than 90%, from 25,000 square kilometers to just 2,500 square kilometers. So we have to look at that. So that's part of the evidence for global warming and climate change factors. So that has increased, the level of immiseration in that area. And then because of that, it's fueling terrorism, okay? Because people do not have lost access to their livelihood, sustenance, and so on. So terrorism becomes a factor. So we have to look at that. Has that been addressed? Earlier this year, Nigeria actually appealed to the African Union for about $50 billion to recharge the Lake Chad, okay? So Nigeria has spent about $5 million in studies to look at ways to revamp that area. I just mentioned that the lake has been drying up. And then as the lake dries up, the livelihood of people there dry up. So they have to look for alternatives. So I think that is where the effort needs to be directed.
Again, we're talking insecurity and economic insecurity. So when we talk about insecurity, it's basically a socio-economic issue.
It's a social-economic issue. In the Lake Chad Basin area is social-economic issue. And remember, a country such as Chad has almost all its population, in that area. It's about 84%. Nigeria's population in the Lake Chad Basin area is about 19%, even though the proportion of that place in Nigeria is 7.5. Okay, it's about 50% Chad and then 30% Niger. So those are the major countries around that area. So it's all about socio-economic.
So the little that is left there in terms of economy, everybody's angling for it.
Exactly.
All these countries are angling for it.
Yeah.
But Nigeria being a very big brother, and we still get a story of our grains, our petrol products are getting, slipping away across into these countries.
Yeah, being a big brother also, because Nigeria has actually funded the Lake Chad Basin Commission by more than 50% of the funding comes from Nigeria. So I think Nigeria has been playing that role, you know, trying to protect, because when we look at 19% of the population of Nigeria in the Lake Chad Basin, and then 19% of 100 million, almost 200 million population is significant, okay? So we are talking about quite a huge number of people. So it's significant for Nigeria, and then it is important for Nigeria to actually lead in this dimension. That is where I find the significance of the signing of this agreement.
Do you think we need to move, not just, well, other countries are smaller, but from inward-looking point of view, do you think we need to do more empowering people in this region? If the lake is shrinking, then we need to pull people back a little bit into other parts of the country where you think they will be accommodated and continue their normal socio-economic life, basically agrarian.
Yes, I think that is going to be the longer-term solution, because it's just like something that's connected to this Fulani herdsmen menace, because people are looking at it from the political and violence point of view, but it is not. The Fulani herdsmen are being pursued by the same climate change factors, because they're being pursued because the arid area, you know, is expanding.
And availability of arable land.
Arable land is decreasing. So the grazing land is fast depleting. That has happened in long chunks of Adamawa and Borno and all those states lining up this, the Lake Chad Basin area. So I think government needs to make provision for that.
Okay, let's come back to you, Dr. Bongwadi, after the break to talk about the intellectual property world and how we can make money from there. We'll be back into everyone.